Hello and welcome to the informational webinar for the class of 2024 to 2025 of the U.S. Department of Energy Solar District Cup Collegiate Design Competition. Thank you for those of you joining live today on August 15 of 2024, and also to those of you accessing this recording. Today we have 5 speakers. My name is Sarah Farrar. I'm a senior project leader and the competition manager for the Solar District Cup at the National Renewable Energy Laboratory, or NREL. I'm joined by my colleagues Sarah Fall, Patrick Gibbs, and Kirsten Kelly. We're also honored to have joining us today from the U.S. Department of Energy Solar Energy Technologies Office, Tim Sikota. Excuse me just a moment while I turn off the captions on my screen so that they are not interfering with the screen view. Okay, we have a poll question for those of you attending live today. Sarah Fall, would you please launch our poll question? Would each of you please take a few seconds to answer off the top of your head, how did you learn about today's informational webinar for the Solar District Cup Collegiate Design Competition? We see responses coming in. We'll take just a few more seconds to collect your answers. How did you find out about today's informational webinar for the Solar District Cup? Okay, Sarah Fall, I invite you to close the poll. We appreciate having that informal feedback about how the various channels may be successful as we are in the recruiting phase for the class of 2024 to 2025. A couple reminders in housekeeping for the Zoom webinar conducted live today. To my fellow panelists, a reminder to mute your audio device when you are not presenting. To our participants and attendees, we invite you to ask questions via the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen in that row of icons. We will save time in our scheduled hour for this webinar today to address as many of your questions as we can as we receive them through that Q&A feature of Zoom. We are recording today. We expect the recording of this webinar to be posted on Monday, August 19. What is the Solar District Cup? It's a multidisciplinary collegiate competition that challenges student teams to design and model solar plus storage systems for multiple buildings on a local electrical distribution network. This may be at a campus, across a development, or in a district. We have an asterisk here because we have 2 timelines for your participation. You may be on a full academic year timeline in which you are registering this September and have a slightly larger scope of work to complete in the academic year between September and April. You may be on a 1 semester or 2 quarter or winter spring timeline where you're finalizing your registration in January and concluding your project at the final competition event in April. A little bit more about this competition. We seek to cultivate cross-cutting skills, your skills, to prepare you, the next generation, for the distributed energy workforce and our country's clean energy transition. As student teams, you act as if you are renewable energy developers proposing solar plus storage systems to a request for proposals, or an RFP. So the construct of the competition is for you to act as if you are a renewable energy developer proposing to a solar plus storage RFP. The competition is organized into multiple divisions. Each division has a district use case of existing building energy data and other design constraints and goals for your projects. The challenge is, so each division has winners, and then the first place winner of each division competes for the Project Pitch Championship. We'll give you more details about that later in this webinar. For eligibility, students who are enrolled at accredited US-based collegiate institutions are eligible to register and participate in the Solar District Cup. We are open to all levels of post-secondary education, from two-year degree programs, community colleges, technical schools, four-year undergraduate programs, and graduate programs. But generally, we have aimed the level of difficulty of this competition to be at the upper level four-year or undergraduate degree. Again, this project may be a 1 or 2 semester project or the overlapping academic quarters, culminating in an April 2025 virtual or online competition event. To get you excited, we have a video to share.
Hey students, the solar industry is ramping up. Want to help shape its future? This dynamic field is looking for creative, skilled applicants. What if you could be one of them? Students from across the country are answering the call as part of the U.S. Department of Energy's Solar District Cup Collegiate Design Competition. Student teams take on the role of solar developers and compete to propose the best solar plus storage design for their district. Throughout the competition, students access powerful modeling tools used every day in the solar industry and training from leaders at the National Renewable Energy Laboratory and private solar companies. You get the chance to develop a multidisciplinary team of fellow students. Together, you will gain valuable experience in solar energy design, along with financial and permitting analysis, to get a sense of what it's like to be an innovative solar developer. Are you curious about a job in the rapidly growing solar industry? Are you looking for authentic experience designing solar energy systems? Check out the Solar District Cup to design, model, compete for the future of solar energy.
So to perhaps build on your excitement for the Solar District Cup, we have additional details. In particular, we invite you to stay in the know. So if you haven't yet, we encourage you to go to herox.com/Solar District Cup and simply click the follow button as indicated by the red circle on our presentation. You can find a hyperlink on which you can click in the Zoom chat feature of this webinar. So follow along these various kinds of updates that we have to offer you with regards to participation, timelines, registration deadlines, and related announcements for the Solar District Cup. I'm pleased to next introduce our colleague and technical advisor from the U.S. Department of Energy Solar Energy Technologies Office, Tim Sikota. Over to you, Tim.
Thanks, Sarah. As she mentioned, I'm Tim Sikota. I'm a technical advisor for the U.S. Department of Energy's Solar Energy Technologies Office, or CETO. It's great to see so much interest in this year's Solar District Cup, and whether this is your first SDC or you're returning as a student or faculty, I'm glad you're here. It's an exciting time to be in renewable energy. It feels like every day we hear some big announcement about a solar factory coming online or gigawatts of capacity being added to the electrical grid. A major part of CETO's mission is ensuring that the United States is ready for a decarbonized energy sector by 2050, meaning that we not only have the supply of solar resources to meet those needs, but also the solar workforce to build and manage it. Through the Solar District Cup, we want to prepare students for successful careers in the energy industry. And after 5 years of this competition, we're really seeing the benefits it can provide for participants. This word cloud demonstrates some of the key concepts that past participants have used to describe the program. I think the pairing of challenging and innovative is really appropriate for Solar District Cup. You'll be dealing with real life use cases and data sets with no one correct answer. meaning your team will need to pull together resources from across your academic disciplines to craft a solution to the energy needs of these districts. This is similar to the work that professional solar project developers do every day, as noted in the bottom quote here. Ultimately, our hope is that Solar District Cup provides students the resources and skills they need to pursue a career in the solar industry, and I'm confident that the work we see here will lay the foundation for a workforce that supports a clean energy future. Thanks to the team at NREL for running this tight ship, thanks to the team advisors for their time and energy, and thanks to everyone for coming together for this competition. Let's have a great year, and I'll hand it back to Sarah Farrar.
Tim, thank you so much. It's always great to hear your excitement and enthusiasm and encouragement to our participants and partners in the Solar District Cup. A quick agenda review. We have provided you with some basic about information as well as our welcome. Next, we're going to go into a summary of the who, what, why, and how. We are then going to provide some additional supporting details for who is eligible, how to compete, when to engage in that upcoming timeline, where to register, how you might organize yourself in next steps, and hopefully have ample time for answering your questions as you may enter into the Q&A function in the Zoom webinar interface. So this next section of our agenda is who is involved, what you'll do, why this competition, and some inspiration for what you win. Who is involved? We're very, very inspired by our class of 2024 students, faculty, and industry. This is a collage of the pictures provided in the student team final deliverable packages as they presented and shared with their division juries this past April. Perhaps some of you are returning, or perhaps some of you are taking the baton from previous student colleagues who have participated in the Solar District Cup. Perhaps you are brand new, and we are very excited to have you join this growing network of student alumni. To give you a sense of where these students are coming from, in the class of 2023 to 2024, or by shorthand, the class of 24, we had 60 finalist teams from 53 collegiate institutions. Roughly half of those teams were participating on that full academic year timeline, as indicated by the blue dots. Roughly half of those teams were participating as a 1 semester or 2 academic quarter, or the winter-spring timeline, as indicated by the orange dots. We find a little over half of these now in our 6th year of the Solar District Cup. We find that a little over half of these teams are coming from universities or collegiate institutions that have previously had a team in the competition, although mostly new students year over year. We encourage and have seen many multidisciplinary teams. As I mentioned before, we encourage and have seen many types of college students, from community colleges, 2-year degree programs, through to the undergraduate degree and graduate level degree programs. We have many faculty, advisors, and industry mentors that support the success of these teams. You can learn more about the competing, the registered finalist and competing teams in the herox.com/Solar District Cup updates section. It's wonderful to see our student teams promote what they have learned and their successes. So this presentation slide just gives you a sense of that enthusiasm, as we've seen from a select few of our class of 24 teams from Penn State, the class of 24 Project Pitch Championship team from the University of Puerto Rico at Mayagüez, a team from the University of Colorado at Boulder, a team from Appalachian State University, and one of our judges that gave an enthusiastic post. So we encourage you again to join this growing network of participants and alumni that may have an exciting opportunity to launch your careers utilizing the resources and connections that we can facilitate for you through your participation in the Solar District Cup. One of the ways that we connect you with industry is that we invite esteemed experts to serve as your judges. So the vertical columns are showing the divisions by district, and the horizontal rows are showing the judges by topic of subject matter expertise. So last year we had 22 judges from industry who interacted with students, reviewing their written final deliverable packages and seeing them present live, virtually online, and posing questions for each of the student teams to answer live. So 3 of our division judging panels are shown here in the blue, orangish red, and yellow. 3 more of our division judging panels from the class of 24 in the columns of the yellow, blue, and green, organized by last year's district use cases. We also had an additional panel of 4 industry judges who selected the project pitch champion winner. In addition to working with industry as judges, as well as mentors, you are supported by a dozen enthusiastic staff at the National Renewable Energy Laboratory that provide training, that provide review comments, that answer questions. We logged 100 questions from student teams last year that we answered through our email address forum, solardistrictcup@nrel.gov, as well as in our live training and office hour webinars. Next item in the agenda is a summary in a few pictures of what you'll do in this competition. The narrative here is that we look forward to assisting you as you gain experience similar to what a solar development company does every day. They are evaluating constraints and goals, and from those constraints and goals, proposing solutions for a district, facility, or similar campus type of client who's interested in adding solar or solar plus storage to their district or campus. This may be in support of greenhouse gas reduction goals. It may be with resilient energy on-site operation goals. It may be for electrification, such as growing electric vehicle fleet charging. We hope that this experience will help you connect to jobs in the industry, such as with solar energy developer companies, utilities, research organizations, consulting firms, perhaps facilities management, and other organizations in the growing clean energy field. What you'll do is submit deliverable packages. You may be submitting a progress deliverable package in November. If you continue to the finish line, you will submit a final deliverable package in April. Those deliverable packages are broken down into 4 components: an executive summary or project proposal that comes with your pitch presentation. Those components of the deliverable are summaries of the deeper technical dives into your proposed conceptual system design, the financial model with your analysis and of the financing and the customer savings, and your development plan to ensure that you are within compliance and enhancing expectations for zoning, permitting, interconnection, and distributional energy equity. To put that even more into a picture, this is a rough formulation of a flowchart that you are likely to begin with site and data analysis for each of your assigned district use cases, perhaps proceeding, once you understand those constraints, into what's possible with various types of conceptual solar system designs. These might be roof mount, ground mount, parking garage or carport shading structures, perhaps other kinds of dual use solar photovoltaic systems, such as agrovoltaics with land use in agriculture, perhaps photovoltaics, solar cell systems that are floating on bodies of water. Other types of creative applications of dual use solar that you might be designing as your creativity and innovation in this competition. You need to understand the interconnection issues. Sadly, we cannot put distributed solar anywhere, everywhere on the 150-year-old technology of the US electricity grid. So we must be aware of those laws of physics that constrain our interconnection of these distributed energy resources, or perhaps be proposing replacing or enhancing the infrastructure required for these increasing on-site electricity generation opportunities. There's a costing exercise with a financial model and a customer savings analysis, and confirming that your designs and what you learn about your designs are compliant, or again, propose changes necessary to meet the district use case goals with land use and zoning ordinances, a master plan, the authorities having jurisdiction with permitting and codes, thinking about the construction and interconnection timeline, because time is money, and a thoughtful evaluation of the gaps, barriers, and opportunities for distributional energy equity within the local communities of where these district use cases are and proposed solar systems are installed. Next, why might you want to learn more about this competition, or better yet, recruit and register a team? It's an opportunity for you to work with your peers and mentors on a real world use case and have that experiential learning opportunity. You're going to build experience with renewable energy design and analysis, specifically solar photovoltaic electricity generation systems, perhaps paired with battery energy storage systems. Thinking about what the electrical end use loads are within buildings to charge vehicles, or perhaps other electrical end uses within the defined districts. You are going to develop real world solutions that may shape the future of certainly your careers and solar energy as well. Many of our judges have been very impressed that the quality of the proposals coming from our Solar District Cup student teams are on par or exceed their expectations for industry developer solar proposals. You have an opportunity to beat the industry. We hope that you're enhancing your degree program education and building your resume. Perhaps you're pursuing the Solar District Cup as part of course credit with a senior designer capstone project, with an elective or independent study course. Perhaps this is part of a class curriculum or a thesis, maybe an undergraduate honors thesis or a graduate level thesis interest. Maybe you're pursuing this extracurricularly as a seminar topic, as part of a student interest club, such as Engineers for a Sustainable World, or otherwise as an extracurricular activity. We think we give you a leg up in competing with your peers to both network with industry and find entry-level careers opportunities, as well as internships along the way. An example of that you will find on HeroX, a jobs board. So we have recently provided some updates of active opportunities for entry-level jobs and internships in the solar and renewable energy industry. So we hope, like these past student participants in Solar District Cup, that you will use this experience to find a rewarding opportunity for your careers as an energy engineer, perhaps in aspects of finance or business development or utilities or many other facets of our clean energy transition and the industry that supports it. For our faculty advisors, we'd like to reassure you that your mentoring of your students is incredibly important and vital, but we provide you a lot of support along the way. So we're providing real data inside of these district use cases for students to respond to. We provide training materials, which you'll hear a little bit more about in today's informational webinar, along with free access to industry standard modeling and analysis tools. It's a team-based opportunity for experience, perhaps also course credit, and again, helping our students connect to jobs in the industry. A last note for my summary section here is, what do you win? We like to think that you win the privilege of being the most famous student team proposing solar systems for a day through the outreach that we do promoting the winners of each class of the Solar District Cup. For sure, you are all winning by gaining this resume building experience, the knowledge that comes with it, and these industry connections. We offer you some token stickers and pins, as well as some form of a certificate or trophy for your school's team and for individual students as well. Each one of the named winners in honorable mention, third, second, or first place of each of the multiple divisions of the Solar District Cup are declared as winners. And then we have a project pitch champion crowned as well. So now into more of the details. Who is eligible, how to compete, when to engage, and where to register. Who is eligible? This was one of the common questions that we saw come through in your registrations for this webinar. An eligible team has a minimum of 3 eligible students. There is no maximum number of students. We have seen many dozens, perhaps participating as part of a class. I would say on average, we see maybe 6 to 8 students per team in the previous 5 classes of the Solar District Cup. But this is really for each of you to determine and manage for yourselves as you practice your skills of collaboration and delegation in completing the requirements to compete. You must be enrolled students in accredited US-based collegiate institution. That doesn't necessarily mean in the boundaries of the United States, but that they are a US-based collegiate institution, that each student is enrolled in at least one class towards the pursuit of a degree, of a collegiate level degree. Any level of college student, as I previously mentioned, multidisciplinary teams are highly encouraged, including some element of engineering with urban planning for that development plan, communications for your report writing and presentation and promotion of your student team efforts, perhaps even in marketing. Business and finance is a critical knowledge area for the competition. Construction management, sustainability or environmental policy, perhaps architecture for these dual use applications of solar. While a faculty advisor and or industry mentor is strongly recommended, that is not required. So 3 students required to make a team. Each student must be enrolled in a US-based collegiate institution in at least one class pursuing a degree. It may be that you graduate in the middle of the competition year. You are allowed to continue through to the April competition event, even if you are graduating in December. So now for some details about how to compete within divisions and with district use cases, I'm delighted to introduce my colleague, Patrick Gibbs. Over to you, Patrick.
Thank you, Sarah, very much. Next slide. We're going to talk a little bit about how student teams compete in the competition. We have developed a competition rules document that will be posted to our HeroX page on Monday, August 19th. Some of the essential references that we like to point to within the rules document is Appendix A, Appendix C, Appendix D, and Appendix E. Those outline some of the key parts of the competition, as well as some of the important pieces to keep in mind when signing up for the Solar District Cup. Next slide, please. How the competition works. So each team will be assigned a district use case. We're currently anticipating 7 different divisions, and each team is assigned to a division by the competition organizers. The winner of each division is then selected by a panel of industry judges, and then each one of those division winners will then do another pitch to a industry judge panel at our final virtual competition event, where they will decide on a project pitch winner. So, thank you. Next slide. The 7 districts that we are currently hoping to use as our district use cases this year will be announced soon, but we can give you a little sneak peek into what those use cases will be. One of them is going to be an HBCU that wants a community solar host to be a community solar host for their local neighborhoods and areas. Another university just put out an RFP for 1.5 megawatt solar project, and they're looking for a student analysis to determine next viable solar project development within their campus. Another university has an existing 2 megawatts of on-campus solar, and they want to look at solar plus storage and how that can help them reach their campus decarbonization goals. The next recently applied for an electric bus charging grant. So they're seeking guidance for solar plus storage on how to one, support that electric bus charging station, but also how they can help with their campus electrification. The 5th group is looking to desires some campus solar potential to help meet some of their on-site hospital energy usage. The 6th is a campus that wants to understand the potential solar projects that they can accomplish to help meet their campus climate action plan. And then our 7th is our bring your own district division. So these are students who bring a district use case to the competition, whether that be their own or a district that is close to their own campus. Next slide. Each district use case assigned by the competition organizers comes with a use case profile. So these will be included and assigned to student teams after they register. These are their challenge documents, so it outlines each district use case and parameters for student team projects. Along with it, there will be a way to access data, which will include energy usage for the buildings on campus, district Google Earth map with identifiers on the district use case, as well as distribution system information for their competition. And for bring your own district divisions on the next slide, the student teams are going to kind of identify and create that use case profile on their own. So students going to identify a district or campus with energy goals and what those goals are. They're going to create a Google Earth file sort of outlining the boundaries of the district use case. Then they're going to sort of follow some of the guidelines in the rule to fill out the extra details of their district use case profile. They're going to collect any available electricity load data or transformer, meter, feeder information, and then also pull together some of those master plans or any related constraints. The organizers of the Solar District Cup can help provide example use cases so students can get some ideas on what some other use cases in the past were. And then we can also help provide synthetic energy load data if you're unable to get energy load data from your campus. And then we can also help create a synthetic PV hosting capacity heat map and electrical distribution system data from that electricity meter, feeder, and transformation information. Now I'd like to pass it over to my colleague, Kirsten Kelly.
Thanks, Patrick. You can go to the next slide. I'm going to talk a little bit about how we support student teams for success in the competition. Most of what you'll need to succeed in this competition, you'll find on the HeroX site that we linked to before and our Canvas educational site that we'll share with registered teams. So once you register towards the end of August, we'll start giving access to the Solar District Cup educational materials on Canvas. This is a preview of the kind of content that you'll find. It's organized by subject area, and you'll find information on the competition overall, as well as the specific subject areas that you'll need for each piece of your final deliverable products. So you'll find information about the conceptual system design piece, the financial piece of the final packages, as well as distributional energy equity and development planning, and information on how to use the modeling and software tools that we provide for you. You'll be able to use any tool that you have access to, but we try to give you some assistance with the ones that we provide access to. The other important thing that you'll find on Canvas is all of the information that Patrick was just mentioning for the district use cases. So you'll be assigned, or you'll have bring your own district for each division, and each team can then, on Canvas, you'll be able to access that profile, all of the building load energy data that Patrick was mentioning for your particular use case. And we'll add information and additional resources and webinar recordings throughout the year. So you'll want to create an account as soon as you have access, and then keep checking that and paying attention throughout the year. But you'll be given everything you need to succeed. I can go to the next slide, please. So in addition to Canvas, and all of this will be available to every team, we provide free access to some industry leading tools through some of our partners. So for example, we have a great partnership with Aurora, who provides access to teams to their Aurora Solar and Helioscope modeling tools for the conceptual system design. We also provide teams with a financial model. It is a required model that they use to really help guide you through the financial modeling piece of the competition. The other really great resource that we have from one of our partners is students can register to attend RE Plus conferences throughout the year. So you provide your own transportation and lodging, but we can provide free registration codes to any of those conferences, and I'll show you the list in just a moment, I think later in the slides. You'll see sample packages by previous teams, but also from industry. And that's all going to be on Canvas and available to you at any point during the competition. And then we host webinars where you can both attend and listen to experts on the subject areas of the competition and ask questions of those experts. And last year, we were able to match most teams up with an industry mentor, so someone who's working in the solar and renewable energy industry. So we hope to continue that this year and get you experience and information and access to someone who really knows the industry, knows what they're doing. Next slide, please. And here's just a list of the regional and the national RE Plus conferences to which team members will be able to register once we have codes for each of those. So check out the RE Plus website to see kind of what the competition is about, but it's a really great opportunity to learn more about the industry and network, especially for those folks who are starting to get close to graduation. Next slide, please. Next, I'm going to talk a little bit about how you can register and when you should register. So next slide is a basic overview of the most important dates for the competition. So today is August 15th. We're hosting this informational webinar. We will publish the rules for this year of the competition on Monday, August 19th. So that'll be a great reference for you as you get started. You can register today, and you just need to register before September 26th in order to participate in the full year division of the competition. And you'll have then through November 14th as a team to work on your first deliverable for the competition, which will be due in November. And you can reference these dates later, and we'll have them posted also on herox.com/solardistrictcup. Next slide, please. If you're excited and want to register now and are maybe talking to some team members or some friends and colleagues to get ready to register for the competition, I'm going to walk you through some of the basic steps to get registered in the next few slides. We'll go to the next slide and one more slide ahead. To register, you'll go to that www.herox.com/solardistrictcup. You're going to click solve this challenge. If you already have a HeroX account, you can just log in at that point. If not, you'll go ahead and create an account. and agree to a couple of the terms of use and confirm your email address to set up that account. It'll prompt you to accept what's called a challenge-specific agreement, and that's just, a couple quick lines that you just read through. Most importantly, when you go to register, you want to make sure you're registering as a team. So if you already have a team from a previous Solar District Cup competition, you can usually just check that box and use the same team setup, or you'll create a new team or join a team that maybe one of your team members has already created. And each school can have more than one team, but there's only one team captain per team. So you want to make sure that you're coordinating with each other as you get registered. Next slide, please. So there's a lot of text, but you'll be able to view this in the recording. You can skip ahead to check and make sure you're going through all the steps. But basically, once you've set up your account and click solve this challenge, that's the first step. The next, you'll want to begin entry and make sure you're a member of a team at that point. So you'll fill out a form. I'll show you a couple screenshots of that form and make sure that you submit that. And that is how you'll know you'll be fully registered for the competition. So that all needs to be completed by September 26th. Let's go to the next slide. Talk a little bit about the form. So you'll create your account, click begin entry, and then you'll complete this form. It's pretty straightforward. All you have to do to register for the competition is complete this form and click submit. It'll ask you to give a title for your team and a couple of questions about your team, what school or schools you're enrolled in, and then confirming that you're eligible to compete. So just as a reminder, you need to have 3 team members. You don't have to have all 3 team members to register, but in order to compete as you go through the competition, you want to have at least three students on the team. You need to all be enrolled at a US-based accredited collegiate institution. And so that's how you'll confirm that you can register. Let's go to the next slide. Here's a couple examples of some of the questions that you'll see on that form. Again, very straightforward. You don't have to know anything about the project or about solar development to register for the competition. We'll help you out there. So you'll just want to give us a little bit of information about your school, the academic calendar, just so we have an idea of what dates are important for you and your team. You'll decide whether you want to be assigned a district use case, so like the districts that Patrick previewed, or whether you are planning to describe your own district use case. That's that BYOD, bring your own district. And then you'll share some contact information so we can help set up those modeling accounts that we provide you access to. So you'll have one team member, name, email address, phone number, and zip code, and we'll use those to set up that account for you so that you have access to Aurora and Helioscope once we get those rolling. Next slide, please. And very importantly, I'm just repeating a lot of information because this is really key. You want to make sure that you both clicked solve this challenge and clicked begin entry and submit your entry. Critically, in that begin entry form, you want to make sure there's a box that says submit as team. So if you don't see that, you can reach out to us at solardistrictcup@nrel.gov, and we'll place that email address in the chat as well if you're a little confused about that step. But you want to make sure you're submitting as part of the team. That way all of your team members have access to all the important information that we'll share via HeroX for the competition. All right, and I think with the next slide, we can go ahead and hand it off to Sarah Fall. Thanks, Sarah.
All right, hello. So my name's Sarah Fall, and I handle a lot of the communications for this competition. And we wanted to talk with you just a little bit more about some of the value that you get out of this competition. And it really has to do with your ability to communicate what you can bring to a professional setting, be it an internship or an entry-level position. And so one of the things that I've discovered recently in talking with some Solar District Cup alumni is how valuable it is to be able to talk about this competition in their job interviews. I guess this competition came up a lot in their job interviews. And so they were able to talk about how being a participant in this competition helped them see, at least to some extent, the full life cycle of solar development, to be able to see what a request for proposals looks like and come up with initial designs and site analysis, and then go through financials and go through a project pitch to a client, and it helps you really see all of those different steps. And a lot of people, when they start in the solar industry, they haven't really seen that full life cycle yet. And so this competition gives you an opportunity to see that before you really dig in and make a career of it. And also being able to take a dive into the topics related to solar development that maybe aren't part of your curriculum. So maybe you're part of an engineering program or something like that, where maybe you don't really talk a whole lot about solar financing and things like that. So this gives you an opportunity to see some of the other aspects of solar development that maybe you're not so familiar with yet. And if you're not considering going into the renewable energy industry, that's totally fine. This competition is actually really useful, teaching you something about that industry and learning more about that, and but also developing really strong, just transferable professional skills. Being able to work as part of a team, time management, all of those kinds of core skills, professional presentations, things like that, that will help set you up no matter what industry you decide to go into. Next slide, please. So we're going to start wrapping things up here, and we want you to think about how this competition is no risk. You don't have to pay anything to join this competition. You are not committing yourself. If you register a team now, and it doesn't work out, that's okay. There's no risk to joining. We hope that you do try it out, and you come and you learn with us through all of our various different trainings and things like that. But we hope that it's something that you can do and still do all the other things that you want to get done in your college career. And so this is really what we see as being a no risk and high reward situation. Yeah, you don't have to travel anywhere. We provide a ton of training. So if you're just not familiar with the solar industry at all and you feel like, oh gosh, this is out of my depth, give it a shot, because I think you'll be surprised. There's a lot of support through various different trainings, and access to the organizers and access to mentors that you might find will help you get through. And then finally, those really valuable connections to industry. Next slide, please, Sarah. Thank you. All right, so we've got some next steps for you. Kirsten already talked about how to register on HeroX, how to register a team. Now is the time to maybe start thinking about finding those other team members. So if you're part of a club, or you're part of a class, or you're part of an academic program, kind of looking around and seeing how can we put this together. If you're a faculty member and you're curious about maybe trying to help your students start a team, now's the time to be thinking about that. We've had, which I think was mentioned earlier, there's an entire academic class who has participated before. So it can be multiple teams on multiple people on the same team, or multiple teams from the same school. We can do that as well. So start thinking about recruiting team members, registering a team by September 26th, and we'll be publishing the rules on HeroX by Monday next week, by the 19th. And this is a really good time to go to HeroX and click follow on the competition, so that you're getting a bunch of different competition updates, and you can find out when we post things like the rules or any other resources. And then shortly after you register, later on in August, we'll be distributing the district use cases, or we'll start doing so, and we'll get access to the Canvas learning environment, where you can check out all of our recorded trainings, and then we start our live webinar series as well a little bit later on in the fall. And then you can start digging into designing. And we are recording this webinar right now, and it'll be up on YouTube. And so we'll share a link with you to this recording, and you can share that with anybody you'd like, anybody who you think might be interested. And I think after that, we're good to go on to the Q&A, Sarah, if you wanted to go on to that last slide. We'd be getting some really great questions. And so I thought actually it might be kind of neat if we would go through and revisit some of the questions that have already been answered in the Q&A. Of course, you can post more if you'd like. We've got a few minutes left. We might not get to all the questions, but we'll do our best. And the as you can see up there, the Solar District Cup at nrel.gov, you can send questions directly if you'd like. I think one of the questions that seemed like it could be very interesting to hear a response to, Sarah Farrar, if you wanted to talk a little bit about Lily's question, and I can read that question out loud here.
Yes, please.
Yeah, so how in depth are the engineering aspects expected to be? Would we be developing or programming, for example, charging algorithms? Our team is very interested in applying AI and machine learning to the field of renewable energy. So is this a competition that could be a good fit for us?
To some degree. So I would say your team's interest and the rules that we have for the Solar District Cup have a Venn diagram overlap of your interest and the scope of the competition. The conceptual solar system design, you may use any tool that you would like to specify solar modules, inverter type equipment, perhaps optimizing a layout of solar modules within a given space on a rooftop to shade a parking lot or ground mount systems. There are many industry standard tools that have really easy to use graphic user interfaces, but perhaps this is an opportunity for the AI element, is how you are pursuing your concept of optimization for maximum solar generation at a particular time of day or a particular time of year. Again, giving what may be existing constraints for land and building area use. In the rules this year, we will ask you to acknowledge on an honor system your use of AI to generate the proposals and submittals to the competition. So if you want to develop your own tools, for example, using AI, you are welcome to do that. We just ask you to disclose that and to identify your sources. Perhaps you have an innovative use of AI that builds on top of the modeling and analysis tools that we provide for you to use at your option. Again, kind of some opportunities around that optimization type of approach. There is one programming element, and that is optional for teams to pursue, and that is this idea of hosting capacity. So within the existing information we give you about the existing electricity distribution grid, where and how much solar can be interconnected, or what upgrades might be necessary to the electric distribution grid. We provide you the base files to then enhance with dynamic modeling using software called OpenDSS, total open source software, with Python programming is typically how that's pursued. Again, maybe an opportunity for innovative use of AI, of how you are doing the math, if you will, for optimizing where and how much distributed solar plus battery energy storage can be interconnected within that existing electrical distribution system or an upgrade. So I know that's a long answer, but I hope it piques your interest and see where there's really a strong overlap, if even not quite 100% perfect alignment.
It definitely feels like there are some interesting opportunities there. We had a question come in from, I believe, former NRELian, current professor Sarah Kurtz about the role of faculty members. And I wondered if you could just really briefly speak to that.
Absolutely. We strongly encourage that this is what is submitted in the progress or final deliverable packages is independent student work. But certainly mentoring is encouraged in terms of project management for the team, delegating, teaching and learning opportunities. So perhaps there are guided efforts in the modeling and analysis aspects. But when it comes to writing the narratives, only students are allowed, for example, to present to the judges in the final competition event. We look forward to seeing that student work, but somewhat informed and coached and mentored by faculty advisors or other industry mentors. And Dr. Kurtz, we're delighted to have you in particular as such an important NREL contributor from your career. So happy to answer further questions if you'd like more refining feedback on that.
And I know we're at time, but it did seem we had one other question that I think comes up a lot that I think we can answer pretty quickly, and that is there any physical component that comes out of the competition?
So that's a great question. Within the scope of the Solar District Cup, it is what we call an on paper, of course, and these days that means digital designs. Some student teams in the past have paired the Solar District Cup with a hardware component. So maybe they have an electronics lab where they have sample PV modules and inverters in which they can do assembly or analysis type experience. Some student teams may be a multi-year effort where they're designing perhaps their own in response to the Bring Your Own District division. And then perhaps the second year of their participation, they're moving forward in partnership with the district or campus to move into an official RFP and a build out phase. Maybe partnering with internal or private sector PV solar installation contracting type venues. So no hardware component strictly within the competition, but it can be very nicely paired as an enhancement or augmentation of the experiential learning that we support through the competition scope.
Fabulous. Thank you so much. And I think we got to all the questions that were presented in the chat and then the Q&A. But once again, please send any questions to solardistrictcup@nrel.gov as they arise, and follow us on HeroX. And we really look forward to seeing all of you compete this year. It's very exciting. And we'll have this recording available for you soon. Thank you so much for joining us.